evening, everyone. Welcome to Mega Files. I'm your host, Dr. Freedom, and here we are to sit down and talk about the finale for Doctor Who Flux, The Vanquishers. And to me, I'm still like, because I'm sitting here wondering, like I said, we'll talk about this more in a minute, but I'm like, most of these characters, I'm like, we got to the end, and I'm like, why were they here? But that's just my opinion. Okay. We'll talk about it more, but first I want to hear what you guys have to say about it. We're going to start with DWC and just work our way around because we had a whole bunch of folks couldn't make it tonight. All right, DWC, what did you think of the Vanquishers?
So, last one of these for the series. Oh, let me get the light. At last, after 6 weeks, the first series-long story since Trial of a Time Lord has come to a climactic conclusion. From the appearance of 3 Doctors to the wiping out of the Daleks, Cybermen, and Zontarans, this episode was able to bring a lot of imagination with stunning visuals. And we even learn that the Zontarans are addicted to chocolate. Joseph Williamson's reasons for building the tunnels was finally given an explanation. And so, therefore, a mystery of history finally solved. But it seems he didn't count on the flux creating the doors. Also, am I the only one who thought that the sign to the door saying the date of the day the episode actually aired, labeled aired, looked somewhat digitally added on? The biggest loser for this episode, however, was undeniably Carvanista for having lost the whole of his race. However, that does explain why the Lupari didn't help in the Dalek invasion of Earth. Nonetheless, it was up to Dan to fetch him, and he is now traveling with Vinder and Bell. Speaking of which, did Bell steal 2 Lupari ships over the course of this series? Because if her story was told out of order, as I first suspected, then it no longer makes sense. Speaking of things that don't make sense, why did the Ravagers take Diane in the first place, as there was clearly no need to, and if anything, hindered them? Also, how does a tour guide have such great understanding of alien engineering? And why is she blaming Dan? Still, that's allowed Dan to become part of the team. With the flux now averted, time itself has decided to finally take care of the Ravagers, allowing the Doctor to leave with her memories, because according to time, the Doctor hasn't got long left, as her time is ending. Who knows what we'll see in the specials, but the Doctor must beware the forces that work against her and their master.
Dun, dun. I know, that ominous and their master. Okay, so we kind of might know just where they're going with that. Okay, AJ.
This one was really disappointing for me. They had such build up and hype for this episode, and it just, I'm sorry, I'm going to say this, it was like a long, wet fart at the end. It was really bad. Characters that didn't need to be there, plot lines that were picked up and then quite promptly dropped again. It's just so hard to describe. It feels like Chibnall was trying to do what RTD did for David Tennant's Doctor towards the end. Felt like he copied that. In fact, to the point where even the Doctor gets a warning about your time ending soon. Why? Why copy something that's already been done once? Be original. Do something new. Do something different. Also, the fact that the Doctor went through all this trouble to get those memories, and spoiler alert, just drops them in the TARDIS and leaves them for some point in the future whenever she might want them again. It's inconsistent. It was bad. I'm going to say that right now, but there are other points I want to get to though later on.
Okay, William.
Hey now, everybody. Without getting the what happened in this episode, because we knew this is the finale of the season, so a resolution sort of had to happen. But the funny thing is, it left too many questions, a lot of questions. Like the first one is, what is the significance of Bell and Vinder? What was their story? And it makes no sense, because if it turned out they were the Dr. Parents, I don't need to know about it in the 3 specials. This is the episode that should have been revealed. So that's a waste of storyline, script, and time and character development right there that was wasted. And another question: why did the Grand Serpent work with the Sontarans? It makes it has no explanation there. Because if he had some times where he, had ordered to do certain things to attack certain people, then why he didn't have them deal with Leopard Stewart? He had to go down there himself, and what happened? He got punished in the end. So his storyline, so to speak, is ended because I don't know how he's gonna get out of that predicament he's in right now. Another question is, what was the long game of the Ravagers? Because they wanted to destroy everything for time. And I guess what happened? Time punished them on their failure, and they were happy that they got punished. I said, if that was the main goal, then he shouldn't have done nothing. They still got punished by time. That made no sense with those characters. That was bugged out. So why exactly is time in Doctor Who? Why is this character in the storyline at all? This the personification of time. Why is in this storyline? It wanted to destroy space. Why? It doesn't explain. Nothing explained there. So that again, a bunch of questions that's not answered. That's not getting answered. Why is the Doctor no longer interested in learning of her past after all these episodes, especially when she met her foster mother raised her, and then noticed that the fog watch right there. We wouldn't have known nothing. All we would have saw is the Doctor opening and get her memory back. Because the time of the episode ending, we wouldn't have seen nothing. All she would have said was, "I got my memory back," and that's it. But she just dumped it. That was nothing. So that means all this build up last year with the timeless children and supposedly the Doctor having previous incarnation, it's a total waste. It's a total waste because she just got rid of it. She didn't want to know nothing. It's like almost giving us the middle finger for not giving us answering a question that we want to know about. Another question: is Division gone? Are they gone for good since this chick died, or are they still around? How many of them are there? Who are still in the Division? That doesn't make no sense. And then another question is, where does the timeless student go from here? Where do they go? Because like you said, the Doctor got rid of the thing. You're not gonna know nothing about her past. Where the Doctor came from? Was it from another universe, or was she just dropped out waiting for something like that? We're not gonna get no answer like that because the way the trailer showed it, we got an obligated story in January 1 with the Daleks. So you're hardly gonna get any answer out of there. And another question is, what is the state of the post-flux universe? What's going on with the universe that was destroyed all over the place? We got no. The Doctor can't do nothing. What is the Doctor gonna do? Go back in time and alter it again? Can't do that. That makes no sense. Now you got a bunch of races and that's been wiped out. In this story, didn't the Cybermen, Daleks, and the Centaurs get wiped out when all those ships that were supposed to protect them got taken away? Then the entire species got wiped out now from the flux. That makes no sense. But now we're gonna see the Daleks next year, and then next year now in 3 weeks. So we don't know what's gonna what this episode was supposed to solve a lot of things, and of course leave a little mystery in it. But it gave us the middle finger because it gave us more questions and didn't give us no answers. It made no sense. In reality, that this episode should have been a little bit longer. Knowing that this is 6 episodes, they should have given us a little bit, maybe 10 or 15 more minutes, so some of these questions I guess asked, and a lot of people are asking, could have been answered. I gotta get the story was not bad, but I can't really be positive about it because it's just jumped around too much. Because you hardly show Kate Stewart that much when her all that time with freaking damn those 2 couples who we don't know nothing about, that could have been used for Kate Stewart. That's just I'm very disappointed, and how this thing ended, because we've seen other series finale and how even though it would lead to a special or Christmas special like that, at least we were satisfied the way it ended. But this one, man, I'm totally disappointed, man. I'm really disappointed. This is my opening statement right there.
It felt like a Moffat episode. I'm not kidding. Where you had a lot of good stuff, but at the same time you got plot holes, like plot holes literally bigger than the universe themselves. I'm not kidding. It was like, all right, yeah, we'll just go ahead and go to open mic because there's only 4 of us here. But it's like one of my main concerns was like you had all these characters, like you throw in the Grand Serpent towards the end. And I'm like, wait a minute, if he was supposed to be this big menacing influence, why didn't we get him introduced sooner? That would have made more sense. Also, Bell and Vinder. I love the characters. It was so heartfelt when they met again, but then they get back together, and I'm like, other than using maybe Bell as exposition, and they used Vinder a little bit for a little bit of exposition, why the hell were they there to begin with? They play no part in the resolution. It's like you could have taken that time. You did, like I said, I know a lot of people love these characters. I did too, but I'm like, you could have used them in another story or one of your final stories rather than dragging them into this thing and using them as exposition. And then all of a sudden we get to the end and it's like, oh, look, big cuddle hug and it's over. They've got no significance to the resolution of the main plot line at all. It's like, why are you even there? It's like, then as guys brought up, they drag poor Die into it. And I'm like, turns out, it wasn't that good of an idea. It's like, yeah, she was a great character and all that. Don't get me wrong. But I'm like, why? It's like, oh man, it's like, it just didn't work. I'm not kidding. I was actually, before I edited this together, I'm going to have to find one of them clips. I don't know how many of you folks out there who are watching, all 4 or 5 of you, who are middle-aged, you remember like back on Saturday Night Live when they had Dan Aykroyd hosting like Bad Ballet, Bad Cinema, and he shows the clip and he goes, well, that wasn't very good, now was it? I'm gonna have to find a clip of just for this video, for this resolution, because it just made no sense at the end. And like I said, I can understand why they did what they did with the memories, because they kind of want to not just chucking him away, because they kind of don't want to go there again. I think they're going to leave this just go, for the final thing. I don't think they're even going to touch on the timeless children thing again for the final episodes, at least not what we've seen. And like I was telling, in the previous videos, I don't even know why they dragged Tech Taeyun into this whole thing, especially when, why is Tech Taeyun dressed like she should be out in the field, and I don't want to sound stereotypical and racist, but she looked like she'd be out managing a rice paddy than, causing an eclipsing event that's going to destroy the universe. She's wearing obviously like an Asian garb with an Asian, like Chinese style hat. And I'm like, why was she even there? Because it's like, I would have just left that character off, so that way you're always wondering, is that character still out there running around with Rassilon? Because as we all know from the show's lore, Rassilon also had perpetual regeneration for some crazy reason. So that they could become menaces later on. Maybe they hook up. They really do some nasty stuff to the universe. So I don't even know why Tech Taeyun was dragging here just to, gone, killed. I'm like, really? She was that dumb? I'm like, but okay. Well, I agree with you. This thing just did not work for me. Okay, who else wants to take on the ball here? Like I said, we're just hop on in because there's only the 4 of us here. So,
I was about to say something, but Asia just raised his hand.
You go first.
Thanks very much. Honestly, I'm not as bummed as this episode as you, and a lot of these things that you're talking about, like I agree there are lots of questions with it, but I do think many of them may possibly be explained in the upcoming specials, because if I remember correctly, this was meant to be an 8-part series, and then 2 of those have become the specials. Maybe I'm wrong there, but I think a lot of these were intended to be sold in that. Also, as a little tidbit, just to mention all those sometimes that you saw in the shopping centers and all that, am I the only one thinking that they were taking advantage of the COVID regulations for the filming?
The Stontarans were there to take advantage of Black Friday shopping. Okay.
Yeah, here's a question. When did the Sultans get interested in chocolate? I know Strax when with living with Manifesto, he got a taste of the sweets and all that. Because he used to always eat Jenny's cookies when she made them. But I don't remember a Santoran eating chocolate. That's a funny one right there. And what's bugging out is that the way Dan's good reaction to him was a little bit unusual because he had nothing to do with her being kidnapped. He wasn't even aware in the beginning that she was kidnapped, and he was telling, "I wasn't late. I wasn't late." And then but she got so spooked out of it. She didn't want to see him no more. And of course, that explains how come Dan continued traveling with the doctor for the next 3 stories like that. And then this girl, I still don't explain how, even though they walked through the tunnel and ended up in the current timeline, how they could be in the current timeline since they were grabbed by weeping angels. You know what I mean? There should be something odd about that because they were grabbed by weeping angels to the past, and the doctors always said it. That they couldn't. He cannot bring somebody who was grabbed to the present, and even though they were not brought to the present by the TARDIS, that one don't explain. I mean, it wasn't even mentioned anywhere how they could still be there. I thought you were referencing a quick reference. The reason you could be here because of this and that, like he didn't make no explanation. And I said that's a weird one right there. I'm like, whoa. I was scratching my head. I said, there gotta be an explanation. And then this girl that was grabbed by the weeping angel to capture the doctor, she was lucky to still be alive because the professor got killed. Fighting the Suntaras like that. So and then after that, I'm like, I said, wait a minute, something that timeline with her a little bit bugging out because when she first met the doctor, she already met the doctor, and then she was zapped in the past and still came to the present. I'm like, wait a minute, but where's the one that that one's a little bit weird too. But I love the way they do Weeping Angel stories, but when it comes to explaining certain things about them, they're not really doing a good job about it. So that bugs me out there.
Yeah, the Weeping Angels were always a pain in the butt because even Moffat couldn't keep them straight. Like I said, 1 minute they're sending you back in time, next second they're snapping your neck and stealing your consciousness. Then it's if anything that holds the image of an angel can become an angel. Then it's if you look in them dead in the eyes or dead in the face, you're going to turn into one of them because your eye is holding it. Yet how many times in Blink did you have people staring right into the faces of weeping angels all the time? You see what they just couldn't stay consistent with them, and then unless, if you look at an angel, it turns into stone. And then you got one just traipsing around the size literally of the Statue of Liberty, in the Angels Rape Manhattan. And like I said, one of the saddest things that came out of that was that whole fixed time thing. And the only reason that happened was because Karen Gillan wanted Amy Pond to exit the show in a way that she could not be, saved or revisited, but she didn't want the character to die. So Moffat had to sit there and write this whole ridiculous fixed time nonsense to explain why the Doctor just didn't go to the past and bring them back to the present. So that's what that was all created for. And it's like, but now we find out if you go back more than once, you get zonked in the stone, you blow up or whatever. And I'm like, well, it's just another angel thing they'll forget about when they're brought back later on. Yeah, the angels were always a pain in the rear because it seemed like the definitions and the parameters of them are always shifting. Just for the sake of the plot. And but like I said, all the other episodes I was really enjoying, and then they got to this one, and I'm like, this is the resolution of the story, really? Like, oh, okay. Go ahead.
For me, I found it funny that the planet Time is a prison for the embodiment of time that actually had a physical embodiment of time, which is just strange in itself, don't you think? Because they've never done that before.
Yeah, they're kind of playing on there was a little bit of Greek mythology, thrown in there because you had things around like Atropos and all that. And if I remember right, that was one of the names of one of the three fates, wasn't it, or something like that? I'm going off memory
Yeah,
because
it
Stephen
was.
King used it, yeah, for a book.
Yeah.
I think it was Insomnia. Is when he was playing around, he had these three beings who are obviously the three fates, and like I remember one of them I think was Atropos, also named that, and so it's like he was kind of like trying to play on that. And I know some people thought the ladies looked like the Time Monster.
No.
Same bad makeup, but okay. But I'm just trying to figure this out. I'm like, okay, does the Flux universe reset now, or because we know the Daleks didn't get wiped out, because they're back in Eve of the Daleks. It's like, so I'm just trying to figure out what's going on here.
Like I said, I think that'll be probably, maybe, hopefully explained in the later specials and all that. Also, just another bit, well, two things. One, I actually loved the bit of continuity they did of all three of the Doctors essentially doing telepathic conference, which I don't think we have seen since the Three Doctors. I mean, they didn't use that word; they just did contact, but that's exactly what happened. Also, I've got to check this thing with. I was going to say Bell and Linda, but it's more Bell because, like I said, when we got to episode 5 and we see her stealing the Lupari ship, so I was under the impression that that means Bell's story had been told completely out of order, in a sort of River Song sort of way. But now in this episode, she's met up with Linda, so I'm like, and we knew she had the Lupari ship in the other episode, so I'm like, does she lose Vinda again? And or did she steal this Lupari ship some other time? And Bell's story now no longer makes sense. That's the only big problem I've had with this one.
Something else that doesn't make sense. Oh, sorry.
Oh, go on ahead.
Something else that doesn't make sense. The TARDIS. It was falling apart in the first 2 episodes. Why is it okay now?
That's actually something I put here too. Yeah, I don't understand.
Same thing with the TARDIS. What happened to that TARDIS that's always been in unit warehouse all this time?
Yeah.
I wonder, is that the TARDIS now that they're using? I'm like, wait a minute, what happened to the one that was bleeding to death and all that nonsense?
No, that was the point. The one in 1967, unit grabbed it from 1967. The Doctor didn't have a TARDIS from that because she was at the division, and so now Kate in 2021, December 5th, 2021, brought it back to the Doctor. That's still the same one.
Yeah, but I think they're going to play on the TARDIS being, at least from what we've seen, for the clips for, the upcoming New Year's Day special. The TARDIS hasn't exactly gotten better. So,
yeah, I'm beginning to think I was right the first time in thinking this is a way of changing the console room for the next Doctor.
Yeah, because we know the new team's coming. Matter of fact, from what I heard, the new team I think started at the beginning of this week, Monday.
Yeah.
So they're already putting together the 60th anniversary special, as far as I know, starting as of this week. Which is interesting because they're actually going to give them enough time to do something proper. Maybe it's kind of scary. They aren't trying to throw it together at the last minute like normal. But it's kind of weird too, because you got Bad Wolf Productions who are going to be co-producing, Doctor Who coming up, and they just got a $60 million deal with Sony. It's like we're thinking, wow, does this mean budget?
Does this mean Millis?
Well, also, we kind of it would be kind of nice to change the TARDIS interior, because that's one of the things that kind of got silly, and this is just for the series overall since it came back. The whole we have to blow up the TARDIS by regenerating it. I'm like, how come all the old Doctors regenerated in it and it never blew up? And I'm like, really?
I'll just say on a personal level, or more for people who like making dioramas or stuff like that, oh, for the love of God, please don't have multiple levels on it, because it just gets complicated to me.
And I honestly say this from the bottom of my heart. I think it was Eagle Moss just came out with the 13th Doctor's console. Anybody seen that piece of shit yet? Oh, I'm not kidding. That is the worst detailed miniature of any console I have ever seen. No buttons, no levers, and they rounded off the top of the stone crystal for the rotor in such a way that, let's just say, this is probably going to be used for something other than decoration. That's the only way I can put it discreetly. Okay. Okay, so that's one thing I want to bring up. Okay,
like I said when we first reviewed the initial photos of the console room, was the art department headed by John Barrowman.
No. No way.
I do have a theory though. For towards the end of Jodie's run, she's going to regenerate, and then all of a sudden the camera's going to zoom into her eye, and it's going to zoom back out, and it's going to be Peter Capaldi standing there going "bugger that," and then changes into someone else completely.
I do know, yeah, that that was the last thing they filmed was Jodie's regeneration sequence, and they wrapped on October 13th. So that's all done. It's been in the can now for, almost 2 months. So it's, and from what she said, no, they did not have the new doctor there. It's what they did the same thing with Capaldi and Matt Smith, if I remember right. So it's like, and same thing with Capaldi and Jodie Whittaker. She didn't come on till later. So yeah, they're trying to keep this a massive secret, but it's kind of obvious they do have somebody already hired or in mind. Because even Tanaya Miller's been running around since like end of last summer saying that she knows who the next doctor is. So I don't think she'd make that up. Okay, anything else before we wrap this thing up, put it to a close and say,
And they released besides the New Year's story, they released a trailer for the other 2 stories.
I don't think I've seen. Are you asking if there's another trailer yet or what?
If they release trailers for the spring and the fall specials, or even announce a cast like that.
Don't think so, no.
They've been holding stuff very close to their chest for most of the Chibnall era, other than a few blunders back during Series 11 that, of course, they, hopped on us poor innocent fans for because they were morons. But it's happened before. Like I said, everybody here remember back when, before Capaldi even aired the first 5 episodes of Series 8, I think it was, if I remember right, or already up.
Thank you, Marcelo.
Yeah, and whoever. No, the sad part is it wasn't Marcelo who did it. It was whoever the IT tech was. Marcelo was the name of the translator, who was going to do the subtitles for the show. And it was the IT guy who left the episode sitting on a server that was open to the internet. And somebody just did a search for like Doctor Who series, whatever. And those episodes came right up and available for download. So that's what happened. Yeah, everybody blames poor Massaro Camargo. He was just the name that was stuck on him because he was the guy that was supposed to, do the translation. But yeah, that was interesting to see how things got changed too. But that's a whole nother story. Yeah, plus the photos that came out before Series 11 of the guest stars, and then the BBC threw a fit, which I couldn't figure out why, because it's like they were just there. There was no plot line, there was no character name. We just knew the actors' names, and yet they were running. They shut me down on a video. That was the first time in all my years on YouTube I had a video struck down for copyright over still images, and now they're taking full advantage of that crap because now they got a precedent set. They've been doing this right, left, and center now. Meanwhile, it's completely illegal. Yes, the photos may be your property, but if they're obtained publicly, then I don't see, how sudden you can say, well, now that's copyrighted images. It's like, sorry, that's called fair use, jackass. It's like, and that's more fair use than certain channels I watch. Okay. All right. But that's a whole nother field of argument.
Hey, what about what's the thing? We've now got Dan, who's now properly part of the team, which, given he lost his house, I suppose is a good idea. But does that mean he's going to be in the show for a lot more than just the upcoming specials? Because I'll be honest, someone like John Bishop, I thought he'd only want to do 1 series.
I think he might be around for the specials, and I think that's going to be it. Because remember, all that stuff's already filmed and it's done. So he's now available to go do whatever he wants. So I like I said, I don't see him hanging around beyond, the final special or the centenary. Same thing with Yaz. Everybody's like, Yaz could go on. And I'm like, I highly doubt it. When RTD and Gardner come in there, they're going to take this thing over. They're going to shake it down, and they're going to want to, start from their baseline. They're not going to want to, have so. I hate to use the term, but they don't want, to be dragging around that stuff like a dead goose around your neck. Okay. No, they're going to want to start, with their own platform and move forward. That's just the way RTD is. So, you don't know what you're going to get, but I don't think anyone from from this series is going to be hanging around for the new series. Oh, and look who pops in just as we're finishing up. I forgot to lock the room.
She could give us an opening statement.
And meanwhile, in closing,
well, while her audio is connecting, one thing that perplexed me was Kate Stewart was not surprised or anything by the Doctor being a woman.
I know.
Almost as if she already knew.
I think they were trying to make it, so it wasn't a big deal, because we've got, certain channels out there running around that are still, if they even mention that she's a woman, they go ape crap crazy. And it's because we're not supposed to mention it, because then it's woke. I'm not kidding. I remember back in the day when the term woke meant I woke up and went to work this morning. And now it's being thrown around willy-nilly like, oh God, PC was that thing I'm on right now that I use to access software. Now it's politically correct. Or virtue signaling. And I'm like, when I sit down and I read the definitions, or I watch, I don't really watch their videos. I like watching the clips that come out later because of the nonsense they say. They show up on Twitter. It's like, according to their definition, the Doctor has been a virtue signaling, politically correct social justice warrior since 1963. Under their definition of it. I don't. But
something else I'd like to point out more about Chibnall's era in general. Is it me, or is this series decided to have a lot of comedians in the show these days? You've had Bradley Walsh, we've got John Bishop now, you've had Lenny Henry, you had Lee Mack, and in the upcoming New Year special, you're going to have Aisling Bea. It's been a lot of comedians in Chibnall's era.
Not to mention the Paramount epic of them all, even though he lasted 5 minutes on screen, Stephen Fry.
Oh, yeah.
Remember back when, and he got zonked. I got on Doctor Who so I could get killed by an alien. I think it was a lifelong dream of his. Come on, everyone wants to be on Doctor Who over in the UK if you can. Okay, so, well, anything else? Any arguments, statements, and all that?
Not really.
We shall now rate this thing and shovel it under in the litter box of life. Okay. All right, I'm just going to start at the beginning because I got to say it, 6. And I'm being generous. I'm being really generous because while I enjoyed the characters, there were lots of moments in the episode to enjoy. The whole overall tie-in, resolution, all that, just like I said, didn't work. Like I said, it just reminded me too much of a Moffat episode. Too many plot holes, relying on the sentimental stuff for you to carry over the stuff that, if you're actually thinking, you'll notice. So that's just me. I give it a 6. Okay, DWC, you go next.
I'm going to be more generous than you and give it a 7.
All right, AJ?
I'm going to be super generous and give it a 4. As you said, the characters were likable and whatnot, but the story was just not there.
And William?
I'm not going to be generous. I'm going to give it a 2. This is the worst season finale I've seen in years, and I mean years.
Yeah,
and you know what's bad?
Ugh.
I'm not looking forward for the New Year special. I'm not, because they got the Daleks again. Because they're showing even though they're not claiming it's true, we see that it's true. You are obligated to show the Daleks every time the Doctor airs on TV. That shows right there.
The only thing I'm looking forward to is the fact that they did finally redesign them a little bit. Instead of doing the new paradigm, they just gave him a 6-barrel or it was like an 8-barrel Gatling cannon. That I want to see. Plus, like I said, people harp on it or not. Like I said, I love what he's done with the Daleks, at least. They haven't really been a laughing stock, if anybody's noticed. Like they don't come in, they do jokes or anything like that. They've actually been killing people again in this year. So that's what's kind of got me intrigued. What are they up to now? What's going to get blasted? Are they going to go total Michael Bay slaughter where stuff's blowing up every 2 minutes? I hope so. Okay, folks, until next time, when we get together and talk about the New Year's Day special, which is going to be, Eve of the Daleks, Eve of Destruction, Eve of the Daleks, Adam and Eve. Wait a minute. No, I don't go to that store. All right. So take care, everyone. See you on the flip side. Have a great weekend.
Everyone.